Okay, Carl, so what's your favourite Family Guy joke?
The fact that it's still on the air. Family Guy is the comedic equivalent of fast food in that it's cheaply made and little to no thought is given to its contents. Perhaps nothing encapsulates this more than the time, instead of writing an actual original joke, the production team of Family Guy just lifted a video from YouTube wholesale and then accused the person who did that of ripping them off.
Okay, so to start with, that sounds like a dick move, so what's going on?
Well, the story to this goes all the way back to the halcyon days of 2016. Do you remember 2016, Nisha, where we thought that was the worst life could get? Oh, how naive we were back then, eh?
I was working in retail, hating every minute of it, so that was a bad time.
And the world was just terrible and all the celebrities were dying. And we thought, can only get better from here. And we fast forward to 2020 and 2/3 of the world catches on fire and the rest of it gets sick. Anyway, in 2016, there was an episode of Family Guy in which the characters of Peter Griffin and Cleveland Brown play the game Double Dribble for the NES.
All right, so that's the setup of the episode. What actually happens during it, though?
Well, what happens is that Peter and Cleveland are playing Double Dribble, and Peter exploits a well-known glitch in the game that allows you to sink a three-pointer every single time, as long as you stand on the exact right point on the court. And while he's discussing this very well-known glitch, just footage of the game plays.
Well, I know Family Guy is known for cutaway gags that last for ages. So how long does this scene? How long does this scene actually last?
Well, this joke, and I'm making big air quotes, Nisha, I know you can't see me because you're far away at the moment, but it goes on for a solid minute, during which they just show footage of the game Double Dribble, as Peter and Cleveland talk over it, and they discuss this glitch at length, and you just have Peter just sinking three-pointer after three-pointer, literally, virtually dunking on Cleveland, much to his annoyance.
Yeah, I remember this episode, and he keeps shouting "corner three" every couple of seconds.
Yeah, and as far as Family Guy cutaway gags go, it's not the most offensive. I think the Conway Twitty ones are probably the worst for that. If you remember those.
Kind of. I'm not sure. I've seen so many Family Guy episodes. I can't remember all of them.
Well, it was the running joke where they just say, "Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Conway Twitty," and they just put a actual full-length music video in the middle of an episode, and that was it.
Oh yeah, now you've said that. Yeah, I remember that.
And then I remember there's an interview with Seth MacFarlane. They ask him about that and goes, "Isn't that just really fucking lazy?" And he goes, "No, it's not. It's not us being lazy. It's us trolling, Fox by getting them to pay us to showcase this really awful music video, which they then have to pay the rights to show." And it's no, it's just really fucking lazy because you were trying to pad out the episode. And it's the same deal with the Double Dribble thing where,
like you said, because the cutaway gags are really long.
Yeah, and also not funny.
Yeah, well, there was one episode or one cutaway gag, which probably people don't find funny, but I thought it was quite funny at the time, which I always remember, is where Peter's stuck behind Robert Loggia at the airport.
Oh, R for Robert Loggia. Yeah, I know that one. It's not funny, but I remember it.
Because I quite like stuff with, there's repetitive jokes. I mean, some don't work.
Oh, you must love Family Guy then.
I do like it. There's some gags in it where I'm just yeah, okay, that's not that funny, but it has its moments.
Yeah. I contend there's only one good, padding for time joke in that entire, show, and it is the one of Peter trying to get the dead frog out of a window.
I don't remember that one.
It's the one where he's got a frog in a box and it's dead and he's trying to get it out of a window and he's just picking it with a box and trying to flip it. Just something about it, it's not funny at first, but then it goes on for so long it starts being funny, and that's probably because that joke is essentially just a rip-off of the most famous example of that, which is the one in The Simpsons, of Sideshow Bob stepping on the rake.
Oh, yeah.
Where he
steps on the rake and he just makes that noise.
And he steps on, I think it's 11 rakes in a row. And the reason that joke exists is because, again, they needed to pad for time. And someone just had the suggestion of, why don't you just make, Sideshow Bob step on 11 rakes? And their reasoning was that stepping on one rake's funny, stepping on 5 rakes isn't funny, but by the time he gets to the 11th rake, it starts being funny again.
Yeah, this just happened so many times, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, and then I think just Family Guy saw that and went, oh my god, yeah, we can just be really lazy and just put an entire minute of our episode on one joke. That's not funny.
I was just going to say, I think my favourite joke from Family Guy is, I think there's really quick cutaway clip where Peter's I forgot how to sit, and he just face plants a chair.
I think the joke that made me laugh the most, it's early season Family Guy, and it was actually pretty good. And it's just, man, oh man, this reminds me of like how World War II started or something. And it's just like a really weedy Hitler trying to lift tiny weights, like, and he looks over and sees this huge buff Jewish guy just going, ha 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 ha, all women on his arm. It's so stupid and so surreal and dark. I kind of love it. But in that vein, Nisha, speaking like, you know, jokes that aren't funny and going way too long, what is like the example of that sticks out most in your mind? Because I have one, and I think when I mention it, the people who are aware of it will go, oh my God, I erased that from my mind.
If we're like, I don't know if you're sticking to the Family Guy theme, but the one that I don't find funny is when him and that chicken just keep beating each other up.
Okay. Do you not find that funny then?
No, not really. A lot of people might like it, but I'm just like, kind of got like sick of seeing it because it happens so often in so many different episodes.
I just liked how absurd they got, where it's like they fall off the edge of a building and go down. Well, like, the joke I am going to mention, and this is one where it is the only time I have ever contemplated walking out of a cinema, and it is in the movie 43. Do you recall this movie at all, Nisha?
Yes. Oh my, yeah. Like you said, I forgot about that film.
Do you know which joke specifically I'm talking about? When I say the words, it goes on too long and it's just not funny.
The one that I remember the most is, I think it's the first joke with
Hugh Jackman's got balls on his chin. Yeah. Well, that's the thing is though, that's okay. But the one that I'm talking about tonight, it's the one where like it's painfully unfunny, is where it's Robin goes on a date.
I think I remember. I think I've only watched it once.
Like, don't worry, folks. Here's a clip showing how good the jokes are in that scene. Right, and now imagine that for 10 straight minutes. It is exactly as painfully unfunny as you're imagining. It's the only time I've ever contemplated walking out of a film because it was just so bad and so unfunny. Moving
it back to the Family Guy episode, where did they get this game footage from? Because I'm assuming they didn't make it themselves.
Of course they didn't, Nisha, because that would require time and effort and skill. What they did instead was they hopped onto YouTube and got a video demonstrating the glitch by a user called Switched, with a 1 instead of an I. Just downloaded that and then put it into the episode in its entirety. And if you're currently thinking, oh man, that's a really fucking lazy solution to get footage for that joke, it gets just a little bit worse, because if you type in on YouTube, just double dribble glitch, it is literally the first result that you get, which means that the production team of Family Guy couldn't even scroll down to the bottom of the page to see if there was any other results. They just used the one at the top of the search. And it gets just a little bit worse, because in addition to not telling the guy that they were going to use his footage, and they didn't credit him either, presumably because they thought, well, it's footage of a game. And I know this is a big argument around copyright of like, okay, is footage of gameplay like copyrightable? And I'm not sure where on it I lie. I think a cutscene, if you just upload a cutscene, that's fair enough. But if you have gameplay, the fact that your inputs are changing the way the game plays, however minuscule differences between people, I think at that point that's when you start to credit people. And if people have watched our videos, you'll notice that if we are directly referencing a game and we use a cutscene, we'll credit the people who made the game. But if we use actual gameplay, we'll credit the people responsible for that gameplay. And I think that's a fair line to draw. Whereas Fox and the Family Guy makers, and now fuck it, who gives a shit? It's just footage off YouTube. Just stick it wholesale in our episode. Bollocks to the guy who actually went out and demonstrated the glitch.
It's like, not only is it lazy, but it's a super dick move as well.
It is, yes. And it's just insulting to an almost comical degree that not only did they not credit the guy, it's they just put their own shitty voiceovers over it. And it gets just a little bit worse. Obviously, Nisha, now that footage is in an episode of Family Guy, that means Fox owns it, right?
Oh, no.
Fox, well, obviously, yeah, it's in the episode of Family Guy. So what happened was, despite that video being online for, I think, several years at that point, when that episode of Family Guy comes out, obviously, now the YouTube copyright robots have that footage in their repertoire and just copyright struck his video for ripping off Family Guy.
Oh, that's so stupid.
The same TV show that had just taken his footage wholesale and used it without any accreditation or permission.
Yeah, it's now their footage, and he's in the wrong for... he's obviously copying their joke.
Oh, he's stealing their footage, despite the fact that, they took it from him, and it later emerged that, no, it was a YouTube copyright robot that did it. So let's just now discuss YouTube copyright robots, because any fans of the channel, they might notice there's a few videos from our archives that are just missing or just not there anymore. I think the one that we get asked about the most is the Stoffel video. about Stoffel, the like escape artist honey badger. And do you know what happened with that specifically? Was it like the BBC or something sent a copyright claim to us? We can double check, and there'll be a fact bar below saying what exactly happened to him. But like, that is an unfortunate reality to be on YouTube. And my approach to it has always been, I don't want a random company somewhere making money, because that's what happens. Like, the company basically just monetizes the video on your behalf and takes all the money you earn from it. And I don't want a company to be able to do that because we use 5 seconds of their footage in a way that I contest is like, you know, considered fair use. So I just take the videos down. And I'm sorry if there's any ones that people like, but like, that's the way I just think of, like, fuck you. That's like my attitude towards it. Like, fuck you, YouTube copyright robots. You can't get this, or no money for you.
It's kind of weird because, like, we'll go through phases of, like, the videos go up fine, there is no issue, and then, like, we'll upload a few, and then suddenly they're all, like, flagged or, like, possible copyright, and you have to get someone to check it, and then they're fine, and it will never tell you what they flagged, what's in it. That's wrong.
We'll move this discussion to the end because it is actually quite interesting, but it's not the topic of today's conversation, because did you know that Family Guy actually did this twice?
Right, so what you're saying is this happened not once, but twice.
Yes, Nisha, and it happened in the same episode, because in that same episode, they also used footage from the game Tecmo Bowl, and again, rather than, like, you know, go create the footage themselves, or, like, you know, track it down, or credit someone or something like that, no, they just went on YouTube, found a YouTube video with footage of the game in it, ripped it off wholesale and put it in the episode, and then that guy also got copyright struck.
I can't believe they did it in the same one, in the same episode.
And that, to me, I think is just a summation of how lazy, like, Family Guy got, and probably still is. I've not watched it in fucking years. They're just putting in minute-long clips off YouTube and getting the voice actors to just read lines over it. And as someone who's, like, you know, trying to break into that Let's Play world, yeah, I get it, but they pay like millions of dollars per episode. And my favourite part is when, like, Fox were, like, reached out to for comment, they said, well, yeah, we're sorry, but it was an accident in our ongoing quest to, like, you know, stop piracy of Family Guy. And at no point did anyone involved display any sense of self-awareness about the fact that you are so aggressively pursuing your copyright that you are copyright striking stuff you don't own. And maybe that hints at, like, you know, a broken system being in place. Like, nah, no, we're not going to apologise for, like, you know, pursuing our own copyright. And ordinarily at this point in the video, I'd make, like, you know, an original observation or joke about how lazy the producers of Family Guy are. But instead, I'm going to take a leaf from their book and just steal content from someone else and paraphrase one of my favourite jokes from The Simpsons, which is like, to the producers and writers of Family Guy, I'll say this, like, writing jokes is difficult, right? No, it's easy. You suck. So Nisha, we've been on YouTube for like a couple of years at this point now, and we have had several run-ins with the YouTube copyright robots, correct?
Yeah, quite a few times.
And I'm not even sure of how many videos have actually been copyright struck by YouTube, but my usual port of call, as mentioned earlier in the video, depending on, like, you know, how this video is edited and cut, I just take them down. Because you want to just like, you know, educate the audience about what happens when a video gets a copyright strike on it.
Well, what happens is, well, we upload a video and it goes up fine, and then the next minute we look at it and it's, like, flagged for copyright, and it won't tell you what's wrong with it, but you have to ask for someone, like, a manual check of it to make sure it is actually all right to be monetized. And majority of the time it's fine. Like, someone will check it over and it's fine, but they won't say what it is.
And they never provide a justification for the original, like, you know, claim. And what happens when a video gets a copyright claim against it is that you are not able to make money from that video, and instead all money made from a video goes to the person who filed the copyright claim. And as you might imagine, like, lovely audience at home, that greatly incentivizes massive companies to just, like, you know, file false or spurious claims, because it allows them to just make free money off of other people's content. And for example, with us, that's why we just take the videos down, because I detest the idea that we put like 2 dozen hours of work into making a video. We use 5 seconds of a clip from a film, which I will argue absolutely constitutes fair use. They get to make all the money from it. Right? It's not even a percentage. And for a little behind the scenes information that makes this just a little bit scummier, when a company files a copyright claim against your video, you have to file, obviously, a counterclaim and say, I believe this constitutes fair use. And the language of, like, you know, the menus you click through when doing that is incredibly like frightening from someone who's, like, maybe just making YouTube videos for fun, where it says stuff like, if it's found that your, like, you know, claim is without merit, your entire channel may be at risk. Which obviously, as just seeing that, a lot of people will just say, well, fuck it, just let them have the money. And I always fight it because I know, no, fuck you. And you never get a justification from the company who file the claims, which is one of the things that pisses me off. The other thing that pisses me off, though, is that when YouTube, like, you know, finally gets around to addressing a copyright claim, Anisha, for the audience at home, would you like to just let them know who YouTube goes to when the time comes to arbitrate on a decision of whether or not, like, you know, something constitutes fair use?
Don't they go to the actual company who, like, gave us the copyright strike?
And for anyone thinking that that can't be true, I shit you not, YouTube's solution to, like, you know, companies filing, like, you know, copyright claims against videos is to let the company itself decide whether or not it constitutes fair use. And if they click a button that just says, like, we don't agree, they get to continue taking all the money that video makes. And again, that highly incentivizes companies to always just click now. Why would they not? It's like, oh, they're basically being asked, do you want to keep taking money that this video makes or not? And once the company clicks that, like, you know, no, it's not fair use, you have no further recourse. Like, you cannot take it further via, like, you know, the means that YouTube provides, which is why at that point we just take the videos down. Or in the case of, like, some older ones in the past, like, you know, when we had time to, like, upload more videos on a weekend and stuff, we just upload them with, like, their content just, like, really lazily censored. And I just thought people might be interested to find out, like, that's how broken the copyright claim system is for YouTube. Where they let the companies who file the claims decide whether or not it's fair use instead of just putting it to, like, an impartial arbiter.